Vachaha kuvalayekshana sarajam bibhrati vaso sarajam bibhrati vaso sarajam bibhrati vaso veni bhutan cha murdhajan veni bhutan sa murdhajan veni bhutan sa murdhajan sa tadbhartuh samadaya vachaha kuvalayekshana sarajam bibhrati vaso veni bhutan sa murdhajan sa tadbhartuh samadaya vachaha kuvalayekshana sarajam bibhrati vaso veni bhutan sa murdhajan. Sa, she, tat, then, bhartuhu, of her husband, samadaya, accepting, vachaha, the words, kuvalayikshana, the lotus-eyed, sarajam, dirty, bibhrati, wearing, vasaha, clothing, veni bhutan, matted, cha, and, murdhajan, hair. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The lotus-eyed Devahuti accepted the order of her husband. Because of her dirty dress and the locks of matted hair on her head, she did not look very attractive. Kindly repeat. The lotus-eyed Devahuti accepted the order of her husband. Because of her dirty dress and the locks of matted hair on her head, she did not look very attractive. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It appears that Devahuti's hair had remained uncombed for many years and had become complicated in tangles. In other words, she neglected her bodily dress and comforts to engage in the service of her husband. We'll read a few more verses. Text 25. Angam cha malapankena sanchannam sabalastanam avivesha sarasvatyaha saraha shivajalasayam. Translation. Her body was coated with a thick layer of dirt and her breasts were discolored. She dove, however, into the lake which contained the sacred waters of Saraswati. Text 26. Santas sarasi veshmasthaha shatani dasha kanyakaha sarvaha kishora vayaso dadarshotpalagandhayaha. Translation. In a house inside the lake, she saw 1,000 girls, all in the prime of youth and fragrant like lotuses. Text 27. Tam drishtva sahasothaya prochuhu pranjalayah striyaha vayam karma karistubhyam chadhinaha karavamakim. Translation. Seeing her, the damsels suddenly rose and said with folded hands, "We are your maid servants. Tell us what we can do for you." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. While Devahuti was thinking of what to do in that great palace in her dirty clothes, there were at once, by the yogic powers of Kardama Muni, 1,000 maid servants prepared to serve her. They appeared before Devahuti within the water and presented themselves as her maid servants, simply awaiting her orders. Text 28. Snanena tam maharhena snapayitva manasvinim dukule nirmale nutne dadurrasyaicha manadaha. Translation. The girls, being very respectful to Devahuti, brought her forth, and after bathing her with valuable oils and ointments, they gave her fine, new, spotless cloth to cover her body. Text 29. Bhushanani parardhyani variyam siddhimanti cha annam sarvagunopetam panam chaivamritasavam. Translation. They then decorated her with very excellent and valuable jewels which shone brightly. Next, they offered her food containing all good qualities and a sweet, inebriating drink called asavam. Purport. Asavam is an Ayurvedic medical preparation. It is not a liquor. It is especially made from drugs and is meant to improve metabolism for the healthy condition of the body. There are different kinds of asavam in Ayurveda. So they say that asavam, it contains self-generated alcohol. It is not the kind of alcohol that people drink for intoxication, but it has got some amount of self-generated alcohol, and along with other herbs and all that which are mixed in that, which helps in improving the metabolism and digestion, and it helps in improving the health. So she was given one kind of asavam for improving her health, because so long she had Devahuti had not taken care of her personal health and well-being. Text 30. Athadarshe swamatmanam stragvinam virajambaram virajam kritaswastyayanam kanyabhir bahumanitam. Translation. Then, in a mirror, she beheld her own reflection. Her body was completely freed from all dirt, and she was adorned with a garland. Dressed in unsullied robes and decorated with auspicious marks of tilaka, she was served very respectfully by the maids. Text 31. Snatam kritashirasnanam sarvabharana bhushitam nishkagrivam balayinam kujat kanchananopuram. Translation. Her entire body, including her head, was completely bathed, and she was decorated all over with ornaments. She wore a special necklace with a locket. There were bangles on her wrists and tinkling anklets of gold about her ankles. Purport. The word Krita Shira Snanam appears here. According to the Smriti Shastra's directions for daily duties, ladies are allowed to bathe daily up to the neck. The hair on the head does not necessarily have to be washed daily, because the mass of wet hair may cause a cold. For ladies, therefore, taking a bath up to the neck is ordinarily prescribed, and they take a full bath only on certain occasions. On this occasion, Devahuti took a full bath and washed her hair very nicely. When a lady takes an ordinary bath, it is called Malasnana, and when she takes a full bath, including the head, it is called Shirasnana. At this time, she needs sufficient oil to smear on her head. That is the direction of the commentators of Smriti Shastra. Text 32. Shronyoradhyastaya kanchya kanchanya bahuratnaya harena cha maharhena ruchakena cha bhushitam. Translation. About her hips, she wore a girdle of gold set with numerous jewels, and she was further adorned with a precious pearl necklace and auspicious substances. Purport. Auspicious substances include saffron, kunkuma, and sandalwood pulp. Before taking a bath, there are other auspicious substances such as turmeric mixed with mustard seed oil, which are smeared all over the body. All kinds of auspicious substances were used to bathe Devahuti from top to toe. Sudata Subhruva, text 33. Sudata Subhruva Slakshna Snigdha Pangena Chakshusha Padmakosha Spradha Nilair Alakai Salasan Mukham. Translation. Her countenance shone with beautiful teeth and charming eyebrows. Her eyes, distinguished by lovely moist corners, defeated the beauty of lotus buds. Her face was surrounded by dark, curling tresses. Purport. According to Vedic culture, white teeth are very much appreciated. Devahuti's white teeth increased the beauty of her face and made it look like a lotus flower. When a face looks very attractive, the eyes are generally compared to lotus petals and the face to a lotus flower. Text 34. Yada sasmara rishabham rishinam daitam patim tatra chaste sahasribir yatraste saprajapatihi. Translation. When she thought of her great husband, the best of the sages, Karda Mumuni, who was very dear to her, she, along with all the maidservants, at once appeared where he was. Purport. It appears from this verse that in the beginning, Devahuti thought herself to be dirty and dressed in a very niggardly way. When her husband asked her to enter the lake, she saw the maidservants and they took care of her. Everything was done within the water, and as soon as she thought of her beloved husband Kardama, she was brought before him without delay. These are some of the powers attained by perfect yogis. They can immediately execute anything they desire. Text 35. Bhartuhu parasadatmanam stri sahasravritam tada nishamya tadyogagatim samshayam pratyapadyata. Translation. She was amazed to find herself surrounded by 1,000 maids in the presence of her husband and to witness his yogic power. Purport. Devahuti saw everything miraculously done, yet when brought before her husband, she could understand that it was all due to his great yogic mystic power. She understood that nothing was impossible for a yogi like Karda Mumuni. Text 36 and 37. Satam kritamalasnanam vibrajantim apurvavat atmano bibratim rupam sambitaruchirastanim vidyadhari sahasrena sevyamanam suvasasam jata bhavo vimanam tad arohayadamitrahan. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The sage could see that Devahuti had washed herself clean and was shining forth as though no longer his former wife. She had regained her own original beauty as the daughter of a prince. Dressed in excellent robes, her charming breasts duly girded, she was waited upon by 1,000 Gandharva girls. O destroyer of the enemy, his fondness for her grew, and he placed her on the aerial mansion. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Before her marriage, when Devahuti was brought by her parents before the sage Kardama, she was a perfectly beautiful princess, and Karda Mumuni remembered her former beauty. But after her marriage, when she was engaged in the service of Karda Mumuni, she neglected to care for her body like a princess, since there was no means for such care. Her husband was living in a cottage, and since she was always engaged in serving him, her royal beauty disappeared, and she became just like an ordinary maid servant. Now, after being bathed by the Gandharva girls by the order of Karda Mumuni's yogic power, she regained her beauty, and Karda Mumuni felt attracted to the beauty she had shown before the marriage. The real beauty of a young woman is her breasts. When Karda Mumuni saw the breasts of his wife so nicely decorated, increasing her beauty many times, he was attracted, even though he was a great sage. Sripada Shankaracharya has therefore warned the transcendentalists that one who is after transcendental realization should not be attracted by the raised breasts of a woman, because they are nothing but an interaction of fat and blood within the body. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mokam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Mande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. India has been making a lot of progress in the recent years. Almost more than 75 years after independence, in 1947 when the Britishers left India, India was an impoverished country. It was, India had been constantly subjected to many famines, pestilence, epidemics, and mostly due to the apathy of the British rulers who considered the native Indians to be inferior. They thought the lives of the Indians was not of much value. It is worthless. That was their approach. Not everyone, of course, but some people, most of the people who are in the ruling position. So, and they had plundered India for many, many years, for a couple of centuries. And finally, when they left India and they left Indians to govern for themselves, India was a real third world country, underdeveloped. The statistics, if we see, most of the people were malnourished. Population was around 30 crore. Most of the population was malnourished. Average lifespan was only 27 years. And hardly 12% of the population was educated. So, all the parametrics, if you see, worse than even probably today, if you want to compare something like Somalia or some other such country. Really, really backward country. But over the years, India has made a lot of progress. Now, recently the news is that India has overtaken Britain as the world's, fifth largest economy in the world. And the projection is that in another decade or so, India will overtake Germany also. And it will jump into the top 4 economies in the world. And they are projecting that very soon India will become the third most economically most powerful country in the world, after maybe the US and China. So, India has made a lot of progress economically. Militarily, India has made a lot of progress. India has got a very strong military today, most modern army, most modern air force, most modern navy. So, militarily also India has made a lot of progress. Not only that, India has made culturally also a lot of progress. Culturally, academically also India has made a lot of progress. When the Britishers left India, the image of India was the land of snake charmers. Today, where do we find snake charmers? Hardly, we don't come across snake charmers at all now. So, all those days are gone. At least in my childhood, I remember when we used to go by bus from one city to another city. When we are waiting in the bus stand, one man will come with a basket, then one snake will come out, then he will take that bean and he will start blowing it and the snake will start dancing. Sometimes we go to the market, there will be one guy with a monkey, he'll be making it dance. And sometimes when you go to the bus stand, we'll find one guy bringing a bear and he will make that bear dance. All these kind of things we used to see. Now where do we see? All gone. Over. Those days, those primitive days are all gone. So India has advanced a lot. And olden days, there was so much amount of caste discrimination. Today, it has come down considerably, although we cannot say that it is completely eliminated. But caste discrimination has reduced to a very large extent. Here and there we hear a few instances. Some honor killing, this, that, and all those kind of things. So it's still there. But by and large, it has reduced people's sensitivity towards these things, people's understanding that we should not discriminate towards fellow human beings on the basis of birth, caste, and all that. That awareness is gradually gone up. So culturally also India has improved. Women's emancipation, women empowerment, in that also India has advanced. Women are also getting equally as much educated as men. Women also go and take up jobs. So we find that women are also getting emancipated. Along these lines, there was a recent news about in Kerala, they have identified about almost I think 600 or 800 schools are there, which are single gender schools. That means it is either a only boys school or only girls school. So the child rights department of the Kerala government has said, we must abolish this same-sex schools. They must all be converted into co-education schools. So why? Because there are so many advantages in having co-education. The boys and girls get to interact with each other freely. So they develop more confidence in relating with, in interacting with the people of the opposite sex. Not only that, they become more confident in dealing with the people of the opposite gender. They are more comfortable, they are able to deal more effectively, they are more understanding of the challenges and the psychology of the people of the opposite gender and all those kind of things. So actually, if you see all this cultural, social development, academic development, economic development, all these kinds of development that India is making big strides in are all in imitation of the standard of progress which is conceived of by the Western world. The Western world measures progress of a country or a civilization based on these parameters. How much economy has developed, how much per capita has gone up, how much disposable income the people have, whether women are getting empowered, they are able to get equal rights in terms of work, pay, etc. and education in the society. Is there any discrimination on the basis of birth, caste, race, etc.? So these are all the parameters on which the Western civilization judges whether a society is advanced or not. India has also embraced this approach. Now, we have to understand that when we speak of these things, these are all very nice to hear. Women empowerment, co-education, it gives so much, it is much better than having people study in the same-sex schools. So all these, it all appears very nice to hear. But as it is the practice in current day society, everything should be judged by the result which it gives. Now, if we look at the result of pursuing this kind of advancement in the society, what has happened in the Western world? If you look at the United States, after all that education, co-education, and the kind of women empowerment and all that has gone on, what is the state of the institution of the family in the United States? It is a practical disaster. It is a total failure. 50% of the people don't want to get married. They want to have live-in relationships. 50% of the people get married. 60 to 70% of them get divorced. And they end up living as single parents. And the children grow up, they get deprived of the attention of the parents. And what happens? You look at the schools there, the children, they're really cranky. They just pick up a gun, go around and shooting the children. A very common affair in the United States. So, since we have also started imitating the Western civilization, we must also be ready that soon in our schools also, children will go around shooting other children and killing other children. Slowly it has started already. Teens murdering others for simple reasons. Somebody did not give some money. His mother did not allow him to watch TV or play some video game. So he murdered his mother. These kind of news are, slowly these things are coming up. And after all that co-education in the Western world, what is the state of affairs there? Children, when they are 15, 16 years, they are no more virgins. They are used to illicit sex, and in the name of protecting those girls, they are given sex education. Means how to use contraceptive methods, so that you can have sex, illicit sex, but don't have to be burdened with the outcome of having children. So these things are taught. Now you look at India, we have started imitating them. We are also having co-education, giving children, giving girls, allowing free intermixing of the girls and boys. What is happening? In the schools, 8th standard, 9th standard girl students are going and delivering babies in the toilets in the schools. This is what is happening. Recently, few days back also, one girl gave birth, some 8th or 9th or 10th standard girl gave birth to a child in the toilet of the school, and she took a pen and cut the umbilical cord. This is the outcome of our great, wonderful idea of co-education. So we should be ready that as time goes by, these things will increase. So what people will do, these people who are advocating this co-education, they will tell, no, this is not related to co-education. This is a different problem. We have to deal with this by giving the children sex education and teach them how to use contraceptives. That's the way to solve this problem. So you see, what kind of civilization are we following? Eventually, it will result in, we can see how in the last 1 decade, in the Indian society, the number of divorces has practically doubled. It has practically doubled. Of course, the total percentage of divorces in India is still very low at about 1%. 20 years back, it was some 0.4% or something like that. Much, much lower. But you see, in the last 10 years, there has been a big jump. In the last 2 years, it has jumped by 50%, the number of divorces in India. So, we are also going in that direction. As we embrace more and more of the Western culture, you will see in another 10-15 years, we will be where the US is today. There will be children who are 16-year-old giving birth to, becoming mothers at that age, single mothers, don't know who is the father. There will be children going around in schools, shooting other children, and marriages, more than 50, 60, 70% of the marriages will be ending in divorce. This is where we are going. This is the end result of this kind of civilization. So we should not be, but we are caught up in some illusion thinking that all these results are not connected to the way the society has formulated its ideals, its values, and the kind of culture that they have adopted. We think, no, these two are separate things. This is the illusion. We should not be under any illusion. If we have taken that approach that we want to follow the Western ideals, then we should be ready for the consequences also. And this is going to happen. This will happen also. It has already started happening. Eventually, it will become on a full-blown scale. So, why the Vedas, the Vedic culture, the Varnashrama Dharma talks about gender segregation? Today, if we talk of gender segregation, it is looked down upon. How can you separate boys and girls? Why they should be separated? Why this discrimination that this is a girl and this is a boy? Both of them should be treated equally because both are human beings. That's the current day thinking. But then, and then when we have men raping women and these kind of incidents, when they happen, the women, they will tell that the boys should be properly educated about the opposite sex. They should not look at them as objects of sense gratification. It does not matter what we wear. Our dress is not disturbing. Your boys don't have proper culture, etc., etc. There are various arguments that are given. So the Vedic perspective, why the Vedas talk about gender segregation is because man is like butter, woman is like fire. You bring butter and fire close, what will happen? Butter has to melt. Now if you say, no, fire is of different character, butter is of different character, butter should not melt when it comes in contact with fire. If butter is melting in contact with fire, it is a problem of the handler who is handling the butter. He does not know how to handle butter. You cannot say all such excuses will not work. Butter comes in contact with fire, it will melt. You bring a man and a woman together, the man will melt. You cannot avoid it. You can see here, Kardama Muni He is a great Muni, he is a great Rishi, renounced man living in the forest. He is not a man engaged in a hedonistic life, womanizing and running after women and all that. He is a very renounced person. Even he, such a greatly learned person who understands, I am not the body, I am a spirit soul. Even he, when he saw the beauty of his wife, even he became attracted. This is the nature, this is the way the man's mind is created. It is designed to function like that. When a man comes in contact with another woman, the mind of the man has to undergo transformation. He has to get attracted to her. You cannot avoid it. All this co-education and in colleges, making, whenever there is a lab, you make a boy and a girl work together. There is a project to ensure that there is equal mixing of boys and girls. All this will not work. They are under some sort of, you can kid yourself. You can naively kid yourself thinking that if we do all these things, the boys will lose attraction for women and they will interact with them on a very friendly basis. They can be friends, no problem. It will not work. Boy and a girl can never be friends like that. Not possible. This fact was very clearly understood in the Vedic times. And so therefore, the gender segregation was advocated so that both the man and the woman can live peacefully. Why unnecessary? Already the mind is agitated. The mind is giving so many ideas for sense gratification. Why do we want to pour fuel to fire by bringing the man and the woman together freely? If you have a gender segregation in the society and limited interaction between man and woman only in the institution of marriage, what will happen? The man and the woman will be peaceful. They will be chaste in their relationship. You will not have breakups. You will not have divorces. You will not have infidelity. Infidelity is a very big problem today. What happens? A man goes to work, woman goes to work, and in both their workspaces there are both men and women. The man goes, he gets attracted to some woman and he starts an affair with her, problem at home. The woman goes to work, there are so many men working with her, she starts an affair there, problem at home. This is how divorces happen. Most divorces are happening. Incompatibility of thought processes, values, all these kind of innumerable problems we are creating for ourselves in the society. But we are so blind we cannot understand all these things. These things are happening in front of our eyes. We are seeing other societies going this way and falling into a ditch, but we are blindly following them. This is the force of Maya in Kali Yuga. So why this? Now the question arises, why does man and woman have to be designed in such a way that when they come together, they become sexually attracted to each other? Why this has to happen? So this is because Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita that Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmani tushtaha sitadir muniruchyate. A person can become a stitadi. He can become fixed up in intelligence. He can become a pure transcendental consciousness, meaning he will not be affected by the man or woman, by the interaction with man or woman. A person can achieve such a stage. It is not impossible. It is possible. Such a person who has achieved such a state is called a stitadi. He is a man of transcendental consciousness. How does one achieve that state? It is not by allowing co-education and free mixing of boys and girls. That will not make you a stitadi. It will make you a kamadi only. It will fuel more and more of your kama. Because the nature of lust is like that. It's like a blazing fire. It is an anala. Dushpurena analena. Krishna compares lust, kama, to a dushpurena analena. Anala means fire. Dushpurena analena. It is compared to a fire which can never be satiated. If there is a fire burning in one place, how do we extinguish that fire? How do we extinguish that fire? We have to pour water or we have to put sand. Suppose you think water is a liquid. By pouring water on the fire is going down. So petrol is also a liquid. Let me pour petrol into the fire. Fire should get extinguished. Will it get extinguished? it will only blaze forth more and more. So, whenever we satisfy our lusty desires, what are we doing? We are pouring fuel into the fire of lust. So, it will only blaze higher and higher. The hunger for that lust will only increase. It will not go down. Therefore, Krishna says the only way to overcome that force of lust, to become a sthitadi, is prajahati yada kaman. One has to give up all the lusty desires. Now, how to give up the lusty desires? So, Krishna gives a clue. Krishna says, prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. We have to understand that all the lusty desires that are there in our heart, whatever desires we have got to enjoy in our heart, they are all manogata, they are all actually concocted in the mind. Actually, those urges to satisfy the senses, actually they do not exist. They are all created in our own mind. Actually, what is happening in the body of a man and in the body of a woman, there is a spirit soul. The spirit soul is neither man nor woman. But in our mind, we have created a concoction. The man's mind has created a concoction that this form of a woman which I am seeing is an object of my enjoyment. And the woman's mind has created a concoction in the mind that this man's body is a source of enjoyment for me. This is simply mental concoction. How do we understand this? Actually, this principle is working even in the animal society. We can see in the streets when we go, there will be street dogs, there will be packs of street dogs. Even from here, when we go in Valmiki Nagar on that seaward road, we can see there are certain blocks. They have divided the territory. Within one territory, there will be a group of 3-4 dogs. In another territory, there will be another 3-4 dogs. Now, if one dog from one territory crosses over to another territory, immediately this pack here, 4 or 5 dogs will jump on that and bite it and scratch it, and that fellow has to run away in great fear, howling with his tail between his legs. Until then, they will not leave him. The same 4 dogs will be sitting there. One female dog enters their territory. What will happen? Totally different reaction. There will be a big welcome organized. You will see they will go around sniffing this she dog and then trying to woo her, trying to impress her. All these things you can see going on. So, for that male dog, that female dog is an object of attraction. Oh, one beautiful she dog has come to our this one territory now. Oh, today is a great day. Let us enjoy with her. That's what is going on in the mind of the he dogs, male dogs. Now, when we as human beings look at the she dog, do we make any discrimination? Oh, beautiful she dog. Do we get attracted? No, for us, he dog, she dog doesn't make any difference. When we see, we'll take one big diversion and we'll go. Why? Because whether it is he dog or she dog, which one will come and bite us, we don't know. So we have to be very careful. So, but the male dog, when the male dog looks at the female dog, the reaction is completely different. He feels attracted. Now the same male dog, suppose he looks at a man, how does he look? A man starts walking into their territory, suppose in the night, the dogs will come, start barking, try to bite him and all that. Now, same time, one woman also comes there, will the male dog think, oh, one beautiful woman has come into my territory? Will it think? No, it will start barking and go and try to bite her. So, for the male dog, what is attractive? The female dog's body. For a man, that female dog's body has no attraction. For a man, the body of a woman is attractive. But that same body of a woman is not attractive to a male dog. So you see, in the male dog's mind, the concoction which is built up is, this female dog is attractive. If the female dog is really attractive, then a male human being should also get attracted to the she dog. Doesn't happen. On the other hand, in the man's mind, what is programmed? The program is, this woman's body is very attractive. But for the male dog, the dog is also male. For him, it doesn't feel attractive. So it is all created, concocted in the mind. This is man, this is woman, this is attractive, this is not attractive. This is all concoction in the mind. Yen maithunadi sukham hitucham kanduyanena karayoriva dukkha dukkam. So Prahlad Maharaj says this Yen maithunadi sukham hitucham, this pleasure gained out of the relationship between a man and a woman, it is called maithuna pleasure. Maithuna sukha. Yen maithunadi sukham hitucham. It is actually it is tuchha, it is abominable, it is negligible. But still we have built up in our mind such a great concoction about it. Kanduyanena karayorava dukkha dukkam. It has become like an itch on our hand. So this attraction between the man and the woman, which we have created for ourselves, it is like an itching sensation. When we have a sore on our body, we feel like itching. And if you itch it, what will happen? It will open up a wound. And when that wound opens up and you keep itching, it will become septic. And then it will become very painful. But still you cannot give up itching. You will keep on itching. It will go on increasing your distress. The only way to avoid that itch becoming a sore and the sore becoming septic, you have to tolerate that itching sensation. So Prahlad Maharaj says that Tripyantineha kripana bahudukkabajaha Kandutivan manasijan vishayeta dhiraha. Prahlad Maharaj also says the same thing. That this is manasijam, this attraction, this maithuna sukha is born out of the mind. Actually there is no sukha there. But our mind has created this concoction that if I as a man, if I associate with a woman, there is happiness in that relationship. There is happiness in that sex between the man and the woman. So because of that, what happens? Tripyantinehat kripana bahudukkabajaha. So all these men and women who are engaged in this act of relationship between man and woman in this material world and who are according it so much value, they are all kripana, they are all misers because they don't know the real value of the human form of life. Which is that in the human form of life, we have got the viveka, the ability to discriminate that all this is simply mental concoction. There is no real happiness in this. But instead of understanding this and getting out of the cycle of birth and death, getting out of the slavery of lust and liberating ourselves, what do? We become slaves of the lust and run after that. And so, therefore, we are not using the human form of life to its fullest extent. So, suppose a person has got a huge wealth. He has got crores of rupees in the bank. And then he is living in a ramshackle house, everything is falling apart, the roof is falling down, the paint is all peeling apart, and there is no proper water, there is no electricity. What will you tell about such a person? He is a miser, he does not know how to use his money. He can use that crores of rupees he has, buy a nice house for himself and he can enjoy life. He can live a peaceful, comfortable life. But crazy fellow, he is a miser, he does not know how to use his money. Same way, having got the most valuable human form of life which can be used to get ourselves to liberate ourselves from the slavery of lust, what do? We become more and more enslaved by the same lust. So therefore, Prahlad Maharaj says that Tripyantineha kripana. These kripanas, these misers, Tripyantineha, they can never get satisfied with the sense gratificatory activities they are engaged in. They are constantly trying to satisfy their senses, constantly trying to satisfy their lust, but they will never be satisfied. They will go on and on and on and on, lifetime after lifetime, generation after generation. We are seeing this is how life has been going on. And on account of this, it is not that if one leads a life of sense gratification, it's all everything is hunky and dory. No. Bahudukka bajaha, they have to undertake so much distress in order to be able to satisfy that lusty desire for a few minutes of that sense gratificatory activity with the opposite sex. So, people are suffering in the material world, trying to satisfy their lust, and they are thinking this is the goal of life. This is the sad state of affairs. So, therefore, in the Vedic scriptures, gender segregation is highly advised, and both the man and woman are advised to come out of the bodily concept of life and stop seeing each other the man seeing the woman and the woman seeing the man as objects of sense gratification. We have to understand both of them are made out of matter. Externally, the package may be different. The woman's structure may be different, man's structure may be different. But internally, what is there? Stool, urine, mucus, blood, bone, all abominable things. As long as they are within the body, we look at the package, oh, very nice. But if that blood comes out of the body, what happens? Suppose some blood spills here, what will happen? You have to immediately clean the place. Otherwise, what will happen? You will see immediately houseflies will start coming, insects will start coming. It is unhygienic. It will spread infection. Similarly, saliva within the body, mucus within the body, any fluid within the body, it comes out, immediately that place is contaminated, you have to clean. So what is this body? It is full of contamination. But externally, it is packaged so nicely that we get carried away by the illusion. We get carried away by the illusion. This is how Maya is so expert. External packaging is very, very beautiful. Internally, it's all a mess. So we should not get carried away by this. That's why Prabhupada is quoting Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya in his Bhaja Govindam, he has sung that Nari stanabhara nabhi desham drishva maga moha vesham etan mansa vasadi vikaram manasi vichintya varam varam. He says that because Shankaracharya is a sannyasi, and in the process of the Mayavadis, their process is that if one has to gain liberation, moksha, then one has to take sannyas. So there in Shankaracharya's philosophy, there is no space for women to take sannyas, only men. So Shankaracharya himself was an unmarried, he was a celibate, he was a brahmachari, and he took sannyas. Therefore, his advice to other men who are similarly practicing sannyas and trying to attain moksha, he says, Nari stanabaram nabhi desham. These are all the places, these are all the different parts of a woman's body which are very attractive to a man. What are those? The breasts of a woman and nabhi desha, the navel. These are all very titillating to the senses of a man. Modern day, they don't accept this. They say woman can dress in whatever way she wants. Why man should be disturbed by that? You cannot help it. The man cannot help it, no matter how educated he is, no matter how big a scholar he is. The moment he sees a woman's breast and her navel, he will get agitated. He cannot help it. He cannot help it. You can give any amount of education, it will not help. Therefore, Shankaracharya, he is an acharya. He is a greatly renounced person. He is a staunch brahmachari. He is a sannyasi. No connection with women. He is saying, the moment a woman's breast or her navel is seen, don't get carried away. Nabhi desham drishtva maga moha vesam. Don't come under the sway of illusion. Why? Etan mansa vasadi vikaram. All that you are seeing is simply a transformation of fat and flesh. Fat and flesh is there in your body also, man's body also, woman's body also. In a woman's body, it is structured differently. Man's body, it is structured differently. What is underneath the skin? It is only flesh and fat. That's all, nothing else. So don't come under the sway of this illusion, seeing the external features. Constantly understand, constantly carry it in your mind. This is simply fat and flesh. That's all, transformation of fat and flesh. Inside is a spirit soul. Spirit soul is different. The body is, what is the body? It is just a dead matter. As long as the spirit soul is within the body, the dead body is walking, is talking, is engaged in various activities. The moment the spirit soul leaves the body, the same attractive woman's body will become detestable. It will start stinking. Within a few hours, you have to cremate it. You cannot keep it, thinking that, oh, beautiful Miss Universe body I have got. How can I give it up? No, sir, you have to give it up. You cannot keep it anymore once the person is dead. So, we have to see the spirit soul within. We should not get carried away by the external body. And we should take the instructions from the scriptures such as the Bhagavatam and the instructions of the great acharyas. We should never be under any illusion thinking that I am very educated, I am very learned, I am from the modern society, I am not discriminating on the the basis of gender and freely men and women should mix. Never be under that illusion. The moment you are interacting, the man is interacting with a woman, it is very, very risky. Only for the sake of devotional service, whatever bare minimum is required, we can interact. But otherwise, we should keep as big a distance as possible. As far as possible, both the man and the woman should remain separate. Then we can remain safe and peaceful. Ultimately, what we need, we are not discriminating against women. The point is, the woman is also practicing devotional life, the man is also practicing. Why you have to agitate your mind about material sense gratificatory desires, which will deviate you from the path of moksha, from the path of liberation, from the path of going back to Godhead? Ultimately, we want peace of mind. No, I should be peacefully able to chant Hare Krishna, I should be able to peacefully meditate on Krishna and go back to Godhead. If you want that, keep away. Keep, there is a value to gender segregation. It is very important in society. And if we follow those principles which are given in the Vedic society, man and woman can live peacefully in this material world. Otherwise, what is happening? We can see rapes, women, girl children giving birth to babies in 10th standard, 8th standard, in the toilets of the schools. This is what our society is becoming. This is what our society is becoming. Even just last few days, big hangama going on in a Chandigarh University College. Some people have taken objectionable videos of the nude girls, students, and they have circulated it in the internet. It has become a big issue. College is not running, students are all agitating. Why we have to get into all this? So these are all the bad effects of following the Western form of civilization. So it's better to keep distance, maintain our, we understand our situation, that my gross body and my subtle body, it is different from a woman's gross body and a woman's subtle body. Her mind, intelligence works differently from that of a man's external body and her subtle body. So therefore, intelligence means we should not try to artificially equate both of them. Now the government is saying that women minimum age of marriage should be made 21 years. So before 21 years, nobody should marry. The idea is the women should be able to get educated, they can stand on their feet and all those kind of things. So although the government may do this with a good intention, thinking that this will aid women empowerment, what is the reality? The moment a boy and a girl come to puberty, the desire for sex will awaken in the heart. So today, the courts are saying, if somebody gets married at 21 years, it is legal. You can get legally married at 21 years. If a boy and a girl, boy is say 20 years and the girl is say 20 years, if they get married, it is illegal. On the other hand, if a 16-year-old girl and a 16-year-old boy have consensual sex, it is not illegal. They can have a live-in relationship. So illicit sex is legal and sex between husband and wife in marriage is illegal. This is what society has become. Courts are saying this. This is not what I am saying. The courts are saying, if a minor boy and a minor girl have consensual sex, then it is not illegal. But if a major 20-year-old man and a 20-year-old woman get married, it is illegal. You can be persecuted, you can be sent to jail. see this one, irony of the situation. Society has become such a laughing stock it has become. So-called values of women empowerment and all. What is this women empowerment? Making children who are 15, 16-year-old single mothers? This is what the women empowerment is about? All crazy. All these things are hypocrisy, total hypocrisy, and simply brainwashing the general public, common mass of people. This is what it is all about. So we should not get carried away by all this. We should stick to what the scriptures are saying. Whatever the scriptures are saying, they are absolute. They are not. It's not that scriptures are talking about gender discrimination. This is all primitive. Maybe 10,000 years ago it was okay, but now it is all modern day. None of those things will apply. Whatever is spoken in Shastra is eternal. It is not bound by time and circumstance. With time, when human beings advance, civilization advance, whatever is taught in the scriptures become irrelevant. No, they are as relevant today as it was relevant those days. 5,000 years ago, more than 5,000 years ago, Karda Muni's event happened in somewhere in Treta Yuga or Satya Yuga or something like that. That Satya Yuga, Kardama Muni as a man got attracted by seeing the beautiful breasts of his wife, of a woman, Devahuti. Even today the same principle works. Any man you take in today's world, will he not be attracted by a woman's breasts? He will be. So what is taught in the scriptures are eternal principles. You cannot brush them aside saying that these are all primitive, etc. The principles work even today. They will continue to work in the future. Therefore, if we lead our life according to Shastras, we can lead a life which is blissful, peaceful, harmonious. Both men and women can live peacefully, execute a higher purpose of life and go back to Godhead. So, those are some of the things which we can learn. I'll stop here. If anybody has one question, we can take because we are already late. Anybody has anything to? Yes.
One of the arguments given in the Western world, not argument, that among the three major religions, Islam is the only one which is still having some culture, and people are preferring Islam because some stability in family life is there. Otherwise, Christianity, anyway, they have forgotten.
What is the stability? The man will pick up the phone from Dubai and call his wife, talak, 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 gone, over, ho gaya relationship. This is the stability. What is the stability there?
Women are not given such freedom in Islam as per, there's some family values are still there.
What family values are there? Man picks up the phone and tells talak 3 times, divorce. What family life is there? And one man marrying multiple women. Not only that, in Islam, I know personally, when I was studying in school, there was one headmistress. She was a Muslim. She had 2 husbands. So this is also there in Islam. It's allowed. So, see, according to the people, according to the category of the people, different religions propose different things. Even somebody follows Christianity very properly, they can have a stable family life. Even Hinduism also. If you follow properly, if you understand Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavatam, you can have a proper, if the relationships, whether it is husband, wife, family life, whatever, if it is not based on the principle that I am not the body, I am spirit, soul, if this understanding is not there, how different is it from the lives of dogs and animals? Even animals, there are certain birds where for life, the male and the female come together, they will be mates for life. They will not give up. They will not go after somebody else. So they also have stable family life. Animals also. So what is so big deal as humans having stable family life? That's not just for the sake of producing children and having a peaceful material life is not that way. That family life has no value. Such a family life, it may be very stable, but where the husband and wife are totally concentrated on material sense gratification, such a life is called a Grihamedi life. In Shastras, such Grihamedis are compared to donkeys. They will work whole life very hard like a donkey, Kutumba Paranena, to take care of the Kutumba. Stable family life, but it's most condemned in the Vedic scriptures. What is required is a Grihastha Ashrama, where both husband and wife live together for life, they don't separate, but their center, their goal in life is serving Krishna and going back to Godhead. That kind of family life is glorious. Why the family life of Kardama Muni and Devahuti is glorious? Because they were centered around worshipping, serving Krishna. Even in their procreation, even begetting children, they wanted to beget the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They wanted to become the parents of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's how Kapiladev became the incarnation, the avatar of Vishnu, he became their child. Such a family life is glorious. Stable family life only for sense gratification, that 99% of the Indian families are stable only. What is the big deal in that? That even animals are also there. They are even more stable. If you take a certain species, there is no question of divorce. There are some species of animals. Once the male and female come together, until death do them part, they will not part. So what is the use of such a stable family life. Stable family life is not glorified in the Shastras. What is glorified is Grahastha Ashrama, where the husband and wife, remain together for life. And because why they remain together for life? Because their goal in life is not sense gratification. Their goal is serving Krishna. So they will stay together for life. No big deal staying together. So that's what is more important. Is that okay? We'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.